Today we're talking through feeling insufficient. Insufficiency and comparison are things that we're going to talk about. How many of you guys have felt insufficient at some point in your life, ill-equipped, like you don't have what you need to do something, right?
Multiple times a day.
I can't see you guys, the rest of you, but I'm assuming you're raising your hands because I think we've all been there. So today we're going to identify the factors that influence feeling insufficient and really understand why, so that we can begin to work through them. Because when we call out the elephant in the room, as I like to say it, I think that it can't have a hold over us of any sort. And then we can actually begin to kind of get tactical about, hey, why am I feeling this way? What's holding me back? And how can I start to work through it? How can I become solutions oriented rather than just letting the problem or the fear or the insufficiency consume me? So I have a quote in here, and it says, I think that what I have been truly searching for as a person, as a writer, as a thinker, as a daughter is freedom. That is my mission, a sense of liberty, the liberty that comes not only from self-awareness, but also from letting go of many things, the many things that weigh us down. And the whole reason why I really wrote this part of the Strategy Masterclass was because I think that there are a lot of things that can weigh us down and a lot of things that can prevent us from being able to walk in a place of freedom. And so my hope for us as a team is that collectively, as we go through this, we're able to really be able to be self-aware and identify what's holding us back, why we feel insufficient, why we feel fear, and then not let it anymore. So not let it weigh us down. And so we can all experience this feeling when we feel unprepared or when we feel unequipped for the work that lies ahead. But that insufficiency can come from a conscious or a subconscious comparison taking place. So I'd love for you guys to think through this for just a second. Comparison is the thief of joy. That's like a really common phrase, but I do think that it's true. So is there anyone that you are comparing yourself to right now? Maybe coworkers, others in the field, friends, those you feel may have made it or have done something that you want to do. Is there conscious or subconscious comparison taking place? And so I talk a lot about bringing the subconscious to the conscious mind, because I think there's a lot of power in that. We think a lot of things every day. We have a lot of story loops that we tell ourselves. We have a lot of thoughts that we have or that we think that we maybe don't even recognize, if that makes sense. So we think the thoughts, but we don't recognize them or call them out. And so what we want to learn to do here is to be able to identify the story loops or the things that we're telling ourselves in our minds and be able to start to call them out or bring them up to our conscious mind so that we can then have the tools, and we're going to continue building on this next week, to be able to start to find resolve in those things. So every single one of us feels this, first of all. So you're not alone. If you ever felt like you were, you're not. So I just wanted to remind you of that today. If you think of the most have it together person you can think of, they feel insufficient. We just have different ways of expressing it. And we're all in different phases of insufficiency. So they might not struggle with exactly what you struggle with, but they have struggles. Everybody does, because we're human. And so even though they may not let on, it could be a part of their personality type. Like me, for example, I'm a perfectionist. So I'm going to do everything I can to look like I have it together, even when I don't. And I don't have it all together, that's for sure. But it could be their personality type. It could be how they learn to deal with their feelings growing up or not deal with them or process them, right? So it's just reassurance that we all feel that people are there. And when we're able to zoom out and focus on what matters, really what our vision is, what our goals are, who we are as people, and why it's so great that we are different, then the comparison can hold no place. So then it becomes not relevant to us, because there's no one exactly like you. There's nobody else on the planet that's exactly like you are. And there's nobody that would do it quite like you would. So the more that you are able to throw off comparison and start walking more in who you are very specifically, the more you can share what the world needs from you. Okay. And so that's really important, that we really take a minute and just embrace that and really step into that, because comparison can rob us of joy. It can rob us of operating in who we are created to be. And the more people have the chance to genuinely see you and know you, the more they can connect to you. And that ultimately leads to growth, from a business perspective and from a personal perspective. I love to tie this back because I do believe that it's all related. So let's bring that comparison that we practice, whether it's subconscious or conscious, into the light. Think of a big flashlight. You're going to shine it on all of those thoughts that maybe are hiding in the deep, darker places or in the subconscious mind. And I would encourage you to write it out this week. Keeping a journal is really helpful. I've done that in the past. And the more that you practice keeping a journal or just saying those things out loud, even if they scare you, the better in a position you'll be to be able to receive what we're going to walk through next, which is really our identity, what makes us who we are. It's our personality, it's our gifts, it's a whole combination of things, of these couple things that we're going to walk through in the coming weeks. And that's why Jean sent this personality test out, because those are the things that we're going to start to walk through and reflect on. And so this is really the groundwork here. And I'll check and see if there's another PDF. I can't remember if there's exactly another PDF. There probably is. But it'll be a process that you can use this week. Last week we tackled fear, and this week to work through what breaks comparison. And there's three main things, and they're actually similar to fear. So perspective. So when we zoom out and really focus on the greater vision of who we are and what we want to do, or spend our time doing or our lives doing, then that can break our comparison, because we can literally forget about it because we're focused on something different, which is our specific vision. And then vulnerability. So when we go afraid with our thoughts, and that's really what it is. When we call off those thoughts out of the subconscious or the story loops that we're telling ourselves around maybe comparison, then those things can come out into the light, and we can really see them, and we can figure out what to do with them. They're no longer hiding. And then awareness. So on every level, that self-awareness unmasks comparison. So if we call things out, write them down, speak them out, it can't weigh us down anymore. And so the more we're able to express with ourselves or with others, the more freedom that we can create for ourselves. So awareness breaks comparison.